Hello, my name's Jeff Holman, and I'm going to have the great pleasure of telling you something about the Knutsford Tapestry. Now, this is the story of Knutsford as it was in the millennial year 2000, and it's told in the form of a map. But this is a very unusual map. There are scenes involving houses and people on this map, and the whole thing is stitched into a tapestry. So, let's start by getting our bearings. The centre of the town is more or less as it has been for the last 2 centuries or more, and it consists essentially of 2 main streets. One of the streets is Princess Street, known locally as Top Street, and the other is King Street, known locally, you won't be surprised to hear, as Bottom Street. The tower in the distance is halfway along Bottom Street, and from the tower, the narrow, winding street leads to the Heritage Centre. This beautifully crafted gate is an evocation of the dance at Knutsford's May Day. Inside, we pass the Green Man, and here is the old tinsmith's, which is now the Heritage Centre. Having walked through the Heritage Centre, you come into this little garden which leads to the exhibition room. Come on in. The tapestry consists of 3 large panels. The one on my right is to the south of town, including Crosstown all the way down to Toft Hall, and the panel on my left contains the town centre. And the one on the far side picks up the north end of Knutsford, including Tatton Park. So, let's take a closer look, starting with the town centre. At the lower end of Bottom Street is that row of black and white Tudor cottages, which on the tapestry looks like this. Further on up is the Cross Keys, which is here on the tapestry, and next to it is the Gaskell Tower, designed as an Italianate campanile by Richard Harding Watt, a Victorian glove merchant. On the tapestry you can see the tower, and adjoining it at the time was the Belle Epoque restaurant. Further up again is the Rose and Crown pub, and here it is on the tapestry, and yes, there are lots of pubs in Knutsford. Now, these buildings are all on one side of the street, which begs the question, how are they going to display the buildings on the opposite side of the street? Well, first, let's see what is on the opposite side of the street. The standout building is the one with the white metallic crosses, which in the year 2000 was the restaurant Est. And here it is on the tapestry. As you can see, they've turned all the facades to face the viewer. So now we have a full view of both sides of the street at the same time. Now, what I think is amazing is that every single building on Bottom Street, which is half a mile long, is on that tapestry. Now, let's have a look at Top Street. At the southern end of the street is Simon Boyd, the soft furnishing retailer. Opposite is the Methodist Church, and alongside that is Lloyd's Bank. On the tapestry, we can clearly see all 3 facing us: Simon Boyd, the church and the bank. Further along is this very nice shot of Top Street, identified on the map as Princess Street. So far, so good. But wait a minute. How are they going to put in the buildings on streets which run at right angles to the main streets? Well, let's have a look at Adams Hill. The tapestry shows Adams Hill in really good perspective. And as there are only 5 buildings, it's been easy to arrange them all to face the viewer. At the bottom is the Unitarian chapel built in the late 1600s. It's where Elizabeth Gaskell worshipped when she was growing up, and it's also where she was finally laid to rest. Halfway up the hill is the church hall. On the opposite side are the steps leading down to the building with the arched windows which started life as the railway ticket office. And so it is all across the tapestry. Roads at right angles to each other have been mapped in all sorts of ingenious and different ways. There are a lot of terraces in Knutsford, and their brickwork is a very good illustration of the detail in this tapestry. Here is Garden Road, which has been stitched with 2 threads of different colour, and the effect is dramatic. Now, it may be an obvious thing to say, but a town wouldn't be a town without people, and there are over 500 people in this story. From everyday scenes like this one with the milkman and the refuse collectors. This true life story shows a fireman rescuing a cat which has got stuck on the roof. The townsfolk have come out to watch, so the cat has become an unwitting celebrity. All the schools, both primary and secondary, are on this tapestry. Now we can't show you them all, but this scene looks very much like playtime at Edgerton School. In the 1997 general election, Martin Bell stood for Parliament against the incumbent MP, Neil Hamilton, who, like some other MPs, was being investigated for being on the take. Martin Bell had been a BBC war correspondent when he always wore his trademark white suit. As he was standing on an anti-sleaze ticket, his white suit was ideally suited to the purpose. And here he is, standing outside the hotel from which he started his campaign, which ended with him winning by an astonishing landslide. We shouldn't forget that Knutsford is surrounded by farmland, which in this case is represented by the goat farm. Incidentally, Bexton cheese is close by, although it doesn't manufacture goat cheese. At this point, I'd like to introduce Hilary Kirkham, who's very kindly agreed to come along and explain just how this tapestry was put together. Hilary, thanks so much for coming along.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Now, your house is on the tapestry, and you stitched it with the help of your family. Can you explain to us exactly how it was done in practice?
Yes, Sue Newhouse asked me if she could photograph my house as part of creating the Millennium Tapestry.
Sue Newhouse, she was the artist who was responsible for designing and assembling the whole tapestry.
Yes, that's right. Having got the canvas with the scaled drawing, I could then work on it at home. Let me show you. Here is a photo of a house, not my house, and the house is drawn to scale on this canvas. I can now decide where to begin and to use the threads to start building up the picture. As you can see, I am putting my needle up one hole and then diagonally across and down the next one. This is called a half cross stitch.
You're using wool threads, aren't you? Where did all the wool come from?
The wool and the canvas were supplied by a fabrics company owned by one of the main team of embroiderers. And we had an Arts Council grant which helped with the project costs.
Now, on the screen is your house as it appears on the tapestry. How many colours did you use?
At least 12 colours. Sue delivered the wool threads which she had cut to the approximate length I would need.
And who chose the colours?
Sue did, but if anyone felt that the colour supplied wasn't quite right, then she would change it.
And what happened next? How did your stitch work actually finish up on the tapestry?
Sue Newhouse collected my canvas, and then she and her core team of embroiderers stitched it onto the main tapestry canvas.
My word. Did Sue Newhouse do that with every single item?
Yes, I think so.
Good grief. What a magnificent achievement, Sue Newhouse. That was well above and beyond the call of duty. How many other people got involved in the actual stitching for the whole thing?
Over 3,000. All their names are in this book, including the children in all the primary schools who each put in a stitch. But the bulk of the work was done by a small team who worked with Sue, and they must have put in hundreds of hours of work.
My word, what a project. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
Well, looking at the bigger picture, tapestries can be created by 3 methods. The Knutsford Tapestry was done using needlepoint, where the work is stitched onto an open grid. Another method is to use a loom, and the most famous tapestry of all, the Bayeux Tapestry, is embroidered.
Really, I didn't know that. Hilary, can I just say once again, thank you so much for giving us an insight into how this incredible artwork was created.
Thank you.
'You. Now, back to the tapestry itself. We've had a look at the town centre, and I'd now like to show you some other parts of Knutsford, starting with Crosstown in the south. The Mobberley Road is a standout location. On the tapestry it appears like this. The famous Chippy has sadly gone, but the Builder's Arms is still there. Further along is the fire station with the drill tower, and there is a fire engine to boot. Also in this scene are the much frequented local shops. Now we're on this side of town, we just have to see Lee Road, which is famous for its Mediterranean style villas, also designed by Richard Harding Watt. Now, one of the most striking buildings is the coach house, shown on the tapestry like this, with the villa called Chancery Dane alongside it. In this scene, the roundhouse is shown in white, and also apparent in the scene are two follies. And here they are in real life. The first designed as a pineapple, and the others designed as a dovecot. You can see them both quite clearly on the tapestry. Among Knutsford's annual events is the firework display, which is organised by the Scouts at Booth's Hall. Here you can see the bonfire, complete with Guy Fawkes and the fireworks going off in the sky. As you leave Knutsford, going south on the A50, you get this striking view of Toft Hall with its central tower, being approached by an avenue of oak and chestnut. Opposite Toft Hall on the A50 is the picturesque Toft Church in its rural setting. On the tapestry, it's shown here from the reverse angle. Now we're back at the Tatton panel again, and our attention is drawn to Drury Lane, where Richard Harding Watt, yes, him again, built a laundry and also cottages for the people who worked there. And here it is as it is today. The cottages are still here, but the minarets and boiler houses have gone long ago. Here's the tapestry version with the Ruskin rooms at the top of the hill. In Harding Watt's day, the Ruskin rooms were recreation rooms for those who worked in the laundry, and on the tapestry we see a very good likeness. Another annual event is May Day. Now there's a tradition in Knutsford of sanding the streets, and on May Day the sanders are out really early. The scene on the tapestry looks rather good, I think, and the sedan chair with its two bearers is a nice touch and a very good likeness. It's a magnificent picturesque affair with marching bands, floats, which in this part of the world are called lorries. There are Morris dancers and some 600 children. It goes without saying that the Queen arrives by horse-drawn landau. And then there's a concluding ceremony with a maypole dance and the crowning of the Queen. On the tapestry we can see the maypole dance, and there's the throne under the canopy where the Queen will sit. There's always a funfair on the heath, as represented by a big wheel, the roundabout and the coconut shy. Last but certainly not least is Tatton Park, that glorious estate which is open to the public for free. In the foreground you can see the deer, and behind them is the medieval Great Hall. The Royal Horticultural Society comes to Tatton every year and is represented by the big tent. There in the middle stands Tatton Hall, which was built in the late 18th century. In close-up we can see a wedding reception sprinkled with confetti. That's a taster of what you can see on the tapestry. In fact, we have barely touched it. The project was initiated by our former mayor, Jennifer Holbrook, and the main architect was Sue Newhouse, to whom we all owe a huge debt of gratitude. It goes without saying that the tapestry puts Knutsford on the map, and it gives me great pleasure to say that there is nothing else remotely like it anywhere else in the British Isles. So please, do come and see it for yourself, this amazing piece of artwork, the Knutsford Tapestry.